Hello everyone, that Manga Kid here to give my review of My Broken Mariko by Waka Hirako. This is a Yen Press hardcover release, single volume. It also has a one-shot story unrelated to the main story at the back of it. So when you take into account, it's kind of a regular 180-page volume, and I don't know, at least 15 or so pages taken up by that one shot at the back. It's a pretty short story. Short, impactful though. Very heavy topic. A lot of people have spoken about this online, so I'm sure that you're not completely unfamiliar with it, but maybe you are. This story follows, I think her name's Shino. She's probably in her early to mid 20s, I would say. That's my guess. And her best friend has just killed herself. So this story follows Shino's grief. It follows kind of flashbacks of her trying to piece together the reality of her friend Mariko's life, and how it led to this moment where she ultimately took her own life. And yeah, so Shino's dealing with her grief and her guilt and her feelings of being left behind. So there's a lot of emotion packed into such a short story. There's a little bit of absurdity to it. I'm not going to spoil, everything that kind of goes on. Obviously, I want you to read this and enjoy it for yourself. But, there's some comedic absurdity. I think that the art is really, I quite like it, actually. And the facial expressions of our main character, as she's kind of, doing her thing, trying to grieve in a way that makes sense to herself. Some of the facial expressions and whatnot are rather comedic. Here's one where she's got snot coming out of her nose and falling down a hill and whatnot. But yeah, the art's pretty good. It's pretty sketchy sort of artwork. I don't understand. This cover, it bothers me because for some, I don't know, my mind can't compute that this person is the same person that's drawn inside the volume. It looks like it was completely differently designed, and then all of a sudden, when I opened the volume and I saw what the artwork actually looked like inside, I was like, what is this? What? It's not bad. It just, to me personally, for some reason, doesn't look like the actual character looks like in the story. And it bothers me, and I don't know why. But anyway, it's a side tangent. Yeah, this is a story about grief. It's a story about friendship. It's a story about not being enough. Sometimes you're just not enough to keep someone around who doesn't want to be around anymore. And that's a very difficult thing to grapple with. Grief is very, very different between somebody passing away from either natural or in natural circumstances or an accident or something, versus somebody taking their own life. For the people who are left behind, it's very, very difficult to deal with that, because there's a lot of extra guilt added onto that. So it's a very heavy feeling. It's a very heavy situation to be in. And for our main character, who, we kind of get the sense that she was probably the only person in Mariko's life who actually cares that she's gone. It's pretty tough, because you feel like maybe I was the only person who could have done something. And clearly you feel like you didn't do it. You didn't do enough. So yeah, this story kind of follows her, and you watch the flashbacks and you see her kind of piecing together all of those signs and those flags that she knew at the time were bad things, but didn't really realize the severity of them, I guess. and that's a really real thing to feel in these circumstances. So yeah, this sort of tackles mental illness in a very real way, not just Mariko's clearly severe mental illness, but also Shino's kind of residual effects, or the residual effects of Mariko's actions on her life now. But yeah, it's short. I think it could have been longer. It could have been a longer series, because it does feel a little bit rushed, just in the sense of it's so short and it's trying to pack all of these things into this one volume. But I think it's effective. I think that it was definitely worth buying if you're able to handle this subject matter. Yeah, I think it's pretty well done for what it is. I think it could have been longer, but for the time that we had with this character, I think that it was effective and thought provoking and ultimately entertaining, which is the whole point. So yeah, this is something I'll read probably relatively often. It's pretty quick. There's not a lot of dialogue. Yeah, I enjoyed it. I wasn't expecting to not enjoy it. I'm pretty aware of my taste level and what I like and dislike in manga. So, when this was released, I knew it was something that I was going to be interested in. Yeah. If you've read this, I'd like to hear your thoughts on it. If you have any similar recommendations of titles that are similar to this one, by all means, leave the recommendations down below. I'd be interested to see if there's anything else out there I haven't read before that has a similar kind of atmosphere or vibe to it. Always looking for new titles to pick up and enjoy. So thanks for watching.